guys, welcome back to another episode of Lights Out with Ish and Eve. I'm Ish and this is Eve, and we are back to discuss everything that happened over the Austrian Grand Prix. There's quite a lot to talk about.
There was a lot.
Race.
Oh my god, I'm happy this week.
Yes, true. I was worried you were not going to be happy for like 2 seconds there.
Me too, me fucking too.
Yeah, that was a lot. But it was overall just a really like good race. Like
it was.
From start to finish, there was like always stuff happening, and lots to discuss over the pod.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But before we get into it, obviously last week the F1 movie came out.
Yes.
And Eve has not watched it yet, but I have.
I'm seeing it tomorrow. So.
Yes. So when this comes out, she would have seen it, but I figured I would just share my thoughts on it.
Yes. I'm very curious about what your thoughts are on it.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. So do you want to know? Because otherwise you can like
No, tell me your thoughts. I don't like movies. Like I'm not gonna like it. Like I'm literally like every movie I watch I'm like, that's cringe, that's lame, shut the fuck up, script is shit, like I'm bored.
Oh, no.
Like
okay, well, I
Anyways.
don't have high hopes then for your enjoyment of
No, neither do
the
I.
F1
I'm literally
movie.
like, keep an open mind, it'll be fine.
Okay,
Anyways.
so visually stunning. I have no idea how the editors like pieced in 2 cars into like all this race footage, because it was all like a lot of it was stuff that happened, and then they just like added 2 cars, which is incredible.
Yeah.
So visually it was amazing to watch. The shots like of them in the car, the shots of the car on the track, incredible.
Yeah.
All the like driver cameos were of course very funny. However, the storyline and a lot of the plot points left a lot, I think, to be desired.
Yeah.
And my 2 biggest gripes was, so this is obviously quite big spoilers, so if you haven't watched it, or obviously you don't care either.
Yeah. But I think I've already got the spoilers. I already know like the plot.
So like the first half was basically just replicating Crashgate over and over again, which just like felt
Directed by
like,
Flavio Briatore.
Yeah, literally. But it just like felt a bit icky to watch, because it was just like, and I know that like this movie is not directed at like big F1 fans, because you're always going to take a bit of dramatic license with it. And so of course like hardcore F1 fans are always going to be like, but actually. But like it just felt icky to watch, because it was just like unsportsmanlike.
Yeah.
And so I just didn't like that side of it at all. And then at the end, he basically kind of like starts and ends the movie in the exact same position. So there's no like character growth. He didn't like nothing happened realistically. He like goes back to just like driving in like random like races and things like that around the world. And like, I don't know, it was there was like a potential for them to do something cool with it, where he like becomes a race strategist or like team principal or whatever, and they just like didn't do that. It just started exactly where it ended. So I was like, well, what was the point? You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
I think with the like love story, with like the basically Bernie Collins. The character is basically Bernie Collins. Like the Kate is the character's name. Who's like strategist / like, I don't know.
Engineer.
But I didn't hate it as much as I thought I would. I went into it really thinking like, oh, like why would they do that? Like that's so like feminist of them to, make the first female like head of strategy, fall in love with the driver, blah, blah, blah. But like, I'm very torn about it, because I do still feel that way. But then I'm also like, if she's, she's a grown woman, she can do what she wants. And like, she can live a life, you know what I mean? Like, and the way that they did it, it wasn't as bad as I thought. I think I went in there really thinking I was going to hate that side of it. And it wasn't as bad as I thought. And it's not like they fell in love and they had a happily ever after and they were going to be together forever. Like, they slept together once. It was like, okay. Like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So I was sort of like...
I still already hate it.
No,
like, don't do that. Like,
So
unnecessary.
And each to their own opinion, for sure. And I get there's plenty of, like, particularly women, obviously, that have watched it and they're like, why? So unnecessary. I just think, like, you've added a love story in, obviously, for the movie. Like, it is what it is. And I think the way they've done it is probably, given that it's going to be the head of strategy or whatever with the driver, if you're going to do that, they've done it as, like, digestibly as possible, I think.
Yeah, I'm just like, don't do that. Like, there's no need to do that in general.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Well, once you watch it, you can let me know what you think.
Yes,
you'll probably double down.
That's the other thing. I'm like, huh?
I feel like you'll probably double down and be like, I hated it.
I fully agree. I have zero confidence in myself to be able to keep my mind open, even though I am trying. But
true.
Mine's closed.
Fair. The one other point that I thought was very funny was right at the end, obviously, the season finishes in Abu Dhabi. And once again, Lewis Hamilton gets overtaken by a car on fresher tyres on, like, the last lap to win the race.
As Lewis Hamilton was a producer of the film, why did he give the green light for that? He's like, yeah, let's use my fucking drama, actually. I mean, it was cinema. Literally. It was pure cinema, so...
Totally. But really, it's just like, you know, you've got a lot of money when you can just make a movie about your trauma rather than deal with it. Right?
It's like, therapy is cheaper, Lewis.
Yeah, just do that. He's like, no, I'm over it. I'm so over it. I don't think about it every day. I didn't write a movie script about it.
I keep seeing that clip that, like, everyone was on about, like, at the time of Charles, like, having to film the podium in Abu Dhabi.
Oh, yeah.
Like, after, like, literally just in real life losing the Constructors' Championship about 5 minutes beforehand.
That's in it. It's there.
It's so funny.
It is so funny with the context of that. But yeah, anyways, that was my thoughts.
Yeah, because the other reason I only, like, I'm a bit, like, concerned, the only person I've seen, like, I've heard or spoken to that said it was good is someone that knows nothing about F1. So, fair. I feel like...
Well, that's the thing, and that's its target audience, is people who don't know anything. Because it is literally a marketing exercise.
Yeah.
Like, the movie finished and I was like, well, that was a great ad. Like...
Okay. All right, okay.
So, yeah.
So, thumbs up, thumbs down, Rotten Tomatoes, how are you rating it?
Oh, as an F1 fan, I've got to give it like a 4 out of 10. Like, or maybe a 5, because the, like, cinematography of the driving was really cool. But if I'm trying to, like, think about it as just, like, a regular person who does not have an F1 podcast, and, like, regularly tunes into FP1, like, I feel like maybe it'll be more like an 8, like a 7 or an 8.
Okay.
So, yeah. I don't know. That was my thoughts. You can let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with anything. Yes.
And I will let you know if I agree or disagree next week, because I'm seeing the film tomorrow. Because I was going to go and then I didn't want to go by myself.
Fair enough.
So I'm going with my friend tomorrow. And that's when people were free. So I was like, I'm not, because I'm like, I need to be able to be like, what the fuck? Because I also didn't want to go with non-F1 people, because I was like, I need to wait until an F1 friend is available for this.
But anyways, speaking of marketing...
Oh.
The Lego, but transitioning back to this weekend, that was my segue. The Lego break distance signs, did you see those?
No.
In Austria?
No.
So, like, they had a whole section of the track that was obviously, like, marketing the new, like, Lego F1 collection or whatever. Yeah. And all the, you know, the little brake signs that's, like, got, you know, how far away you are from... Yeah, the brake markers. They were all, like, built like little Lego blocks. So they had the little circles on the top.
Funny.
They were actually really cute. I was like, as a marketing girl, I love that.
Yeah, slay. I love that. I didn't notice that, though. That's really funny. Every time I think of braking markers, it's really funny. I actually think of when we were in Singapore and we were sat right by the braking marker the last corner. Yeah. And when the cars came past on their formation lap, Charles was like fully just like looking into the crowd. He was looking at the braking marker, but like all of the girls were like, like right by us, and we were like, he's looking at the braking marker, get a grip. It was so funny. Like that was really funny. But I was like, he really was like, and then all the girls were like,
I think we called it a Wattpad moment in that.
Yeah, yeah. It was so funny. Anyways, and I'm like, can you not see the big 100 right in front of us? Like,
I'd say that is what he's looking at. But yeah.
Anyways, that I digress. Let's get into the race weekend in Austria. A bit of news that was, slightly discussed in the weeks prior. Rumors of Sebastian Vettel joining Red Bull as some sort of advisory role. Did you see this?
I did not.
Oh, he was like, there was discussions of him coming into Red Bull, like obviously not as a driver, but as like some sort of advisory role. And there was even rumors that he could be the successor of Helmut Marko. And I was like, please, for your young drivers, please let Seb do that.
Yeah, for real.
But I don't know. I feel like Helmut Marko will have to be dragged out of that place. So I don't quite see that happening. But Seb might be able to. I feel like he would do very good things for Red Bull because he's, very driver first focused. So potentially that was that.
Cool. Yeah.
There was also, it was Franco Colapinto's 5th race of the year. So it looks like he's probably just going to continue because obviously there was that rumour when he was brought in that he also was only on a 5-race contract. That seems like that's been negated because I haven't heard a single thing about him being replaced by Paul Aaron or anybody else.
Alpine are just learning that they probably need to actually give their drivers time. Weirdly enough.
Yeah, because he was causing problemos in the race.
Yes,
as well.
He was. There were a few drivers causing problemos. But
the Franco one had me on my deathbed.
Yeah, that was actually insane.
I nearly went through the roof.
Did you hear Oscar's radio? I don't even know if it was real or not.
It is
was
real.
It real.
It's real.
Did you say that?
It's real.
He got on the radio after Colapinto nearly pushed him into the wall, like had pushed him off the track.
When he was being lapped?
Like, yes, and said like something along the lines of like, Alpine is like still trying to screw me over like years
after
later.
all these years.
Yeah.
Oscar, please. It's so funny because he also had another like angry radio moment in quali because obviously he didn't get his final lap.
Yes.
And he was like, what did he say? He was like, fuck me, mate. Jesus Christ. Like, sounded so Australian on the radio. And I was like, yes, kid. Like, let's go. I love when Oscar gets angry because he never does. So every time Oscar gets angry, I'm like,
yes. Like let it go, King. I'm here for it.
Literally.
But yes, that was very funny. Should we get into practice?
Yes.
Okay, so FP1,
I would love to talk about this if you will let me.
Please do.
My boy, my F2 driver, my little McLaren Junior, Alex Dunn, got in the car and slayed. Quite frankly, he ate down. And
I don't
that's
get
my
how
boy.
It wasn't talked about more because to be a 10th, to have a lap time a 10th behind Oscar Piastri, like what was it, 4th overall?
Yeah, championship leader. Like, because obviously in a McLaren, you'd expect him to be doing better than a rookie, say, in a Williams, obviously.
Of course.
You'd expect him to go faster just because of the car. But P4 overall, and you kind of benchmark them off the teammate who's the actual F1 driver.
Yeah.
A 10th off of Oscar?
Actually,
I mean,
insane.
Andrea Stella apparently said, like, take it with a grain of salt. There was, like, different things going on with, like, fuel loading and stuff like that.
Sure.
So, yeah, he did caveat it, but I was literally like, that's my boy. I was like, let's go. And then he got disqualified from the F2 race, but it's fine. It's fine.
Dude, so I watched the end of the F2 race on Saturday, because like I turned the quali coverage on early, and the F2
Dude,
race
I
was
love...
still
Oh, the
going.
F2 sprint?
Yes, the F2 sprint. And I was like...
I was watching that.
That was insane. There was like 10 DNFs and like multi-car pile-ups.
Welcome to F2. Girl, this happens every week. This is like standard F2. Like,
I was watching
I'm
it
telling
like,
you.
oh my God.
This literally happens in F2 all the time. Like, F2 is mayhem, Shana. I'm telling you. It's fucking chaos and I love it.
I know. I
But
feel
that
like
was
I actually
crazy.
need to tune in.
You do. But yeah, when Sammy Megatuna flipped over Arvid Lindblad and Luke Browning, I was like...
The photo of them like
crazy.
stacked on top of each other, I was like, it's like Top Gun, where he's like, but I was inverted.
Yeah.
Like...
Oh my God. But it's also like the Cars movie, I think. Someone does a flip over someone.
Yes.
I saw memes about
Literally.
that. But then, because there was that pile up, and then at the end of the race, there was another like 3-car
Another
pile
one.
up.
Yeah.
And also in the actual F2 race, because that was the sprint, in the actual F2 race, Ollie Goethe went like flying through the air as well.
Oh my God.
I don't know like
Crazy.
how it happened, but he got launched as well.
Wow. Yeah.
But yeah, this is just F2. Like, this is just kind of...
Just
because
chaos.
it's a spec series, all the cars are the same. So they're all just like in and around each other all the time.
Yes. And they're all lighter, which is
They're
why
all
they all like
lighter.
launch.
Yeah. And respectfully, all the drivers are rookies.
Yes.
So they're like gonna crash more. And they
Totally.
like I don't mean to be like, oh, they're worse, but like...
But they are. Like, they haven't
Yeah.
had the amount of experience as an F1 driver. Like, they just
exactly.
are.
Yeah. So they just, like, that's kind of standard dot for F2. Obviously nothing, like, as crazy as that flipping one. But, I mean,
But
not
anyways,
quite,
he was replacing Lando, and Dino Beganovic was replacing Charles.
Yes.
And, yeah, I mean, obviously, Alex Dunn just did amazing.
Yeah, Dino didn't do bad. He also spent half the fucking session in the garage with the whole floor off the car. So that didn't help. But, like, he didn't do bad. But I think he just did, like, as you would kind of expect a rookie to do in an FP1 session. Like, it was kind of nothing crazy. Yeah. Another thing as well, Max was without GP for the first time in his Red Bull career. So he's never, in his time at Red Bull... never been without GP on the radio.
That's
crazy. I was like, this could go one of two ways. But it was fine, I think.
Could you imagine GP like prepping his replacement? Like, okay,
Yeah.
he might
In
not
this
like
circumstance.
it, but it's gonna be okay. You just need to say understood.
Understood.
And
Copy
then
that.
let him move on.
We are checking. Don't say we are checking.
No, just say understood.
Don't say you're under investigation.
Yeah.
Don't say we've put you
Don't
on
tell
the
him
hard
to give the
tyre.
place back.
Yeah. Don't say give George Russell the place.
Yeah. But anyway, I mean, other than that, there was like a few offs and spins and things like that. Nothing particularly serious. I think everyone just kind of coming to grips with the track.
Andrea Stella spilled his water on Lando.
Did he?
Yeah. Did you not see this?
No.
He was like sat on the pit wall, and obviously Lando was on the pit wall as well.
Yeah.
And Andrea Stella like took the lid off his water bottle and just like spilt it on Lando.
Nice.
Anyways, that was just kind of funny. But
That
yeah,
is
nothing
funny.
that serious happened. Yeah, a few offs, few spins.
Yeah.
All through practice, really. A lot of spins
All through
in the
practice.
last corner.
Yeah. I think with the extra gravel trap that obviously prevented any track limits.
Yeah.
penalties,
So well
everyone
done, Red
just
Bull
trying
Ring.
to- Yes. Everyone just trying to come to grips with like making sure they make that corner rather than
Yeah.
going off.
There's
into
less
the
runoff
gravel.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. Then into FP2, Charles had a couple of sort of early adventures into the gravel and off the track.
Across
it's
into
like-
the grass.
Yeah, literally. He went for a real adventure. It's really funny because oftentimes like I'll watch the highlights while I'm like making my notes for because like Friday just feels like so long like ago.
Yeah.
And I'll like rewatch the highlights on like YouTube, and the F1 highlights always call Charles the Monegasque. And there was like one comment that was like, I'm glad they mentioned Charles as nationality again, because I was really confused about where he was from after FP1. Because they'll always be like, and the Monegasque went off the road, and the Monegasque did this, and the Monegasque did that. And they never say anyone else's nationality as much as they say Charles's.
That's
like,
so weird.
Maybe Alex Albon, they'll be like the Thai driver, but they always refer to Charles as the Monegasque, and no one else. It's just
That's
a
so
little
weird.
bizarre. Yeah.
Yeah. That's weird.
Anyways, I just thought
Yeah.
that was quite funny. But Bortoletto was looking really quick. He was P6 in FP1 and then P8, I think, in FP2. And obviously that speed continued.
Yeah, Sauber's upgrades worked.
Yeah. Not so much of a wheelie bin anymore.
No, their upgrades have been working. Good for them. Wasn't expecting that.
No.
This year.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't expecting them to... I thought they were just going to sit there and wait until Audi... Like, I thought I was just going to be shit until Audi took over, but...
I know. But I'm really glad, especially for Bortoletto, to be able to, like, have these opportunities to showcase what he can do when he's 100%. Got the, like, car underneath him.
100%. Because Zhou Guan Yu never got the chance, realistically.
I know. Zhou. They, like, mentioned Zhou in the F1 movie, and I was like, Zhou! Also, Carlos is still in Ferrari, and I was like, Carlos!
Yeah. True. People were saying that, and he's like, could you see, like, Danny Rick? Is Danny Rick there? No, okay.
He's in the credits, so he must be there somewhere, and maybe I just
in the background.
Yeah, but...
Yeah. Anyways.
But yeah.
Also, like, Lando had that incident with Max, where he was like...
Yes.
Weirdly went to the left.
Yeah, that was a little random.
Anyways. And people were like, he's trying to get Max a penalty. I'm like, no, he's not.
No one is trying to get Max a penalty. No one is trying to do that.
By the way, Max is now out of the woods of the immediate threat of a race ban.
He is.
Because as of today, his penalty points from well, he just downed back 2. So he's back to 9. So he's not under immediate threat of a race ban anymore.
Correct.
Which... I saw a meme. It was like, you can't get penalty points in the race if you don't do the race.
Big brain thinking.
Big brain. Anyways.
True.
And that's kind of FP3. Yes. FP3 was interesting. There was a lot of discussion in the commentary about George's contract situation.
Yes.
And the whole Mercedes contract and driver situation, which is just very interesting. Because apparently Max Verstappen's Red Bull exit clause is... I mean, at this point, it's kind of very clear that they're waiting to see what Max says before they sign either of their 2 drivers. And everyone is just kind of assuming that George will be the one that they replace. But it could be Kimi. No. Like, Kimi also doesn't have a contract.
Really?
No, he's only 1 year.
Oh.
So that's, it's kind of, it's very clear that they're just kind of waiting on Max, because if you have, but I think George is kind of doing too well to, like, he's doing everything.
Yeah. Like,
to get himself.
So, crazy to get rid of him.
Yeah,
He's
so it's like
what so consistently.
Yeah, and it's like, so what do you bench Kimi?
Yeah,
like,
who you said is like the future of your team.
Yeah, and like it's happened before where teams will bring in a rookie, bench them, bring them back. Like, but it's like, would you want to do that with your academy driver? And then would you want a George and Max lineup? That sounds like hell. It sounds like a very fast lineup. It sounds like a really, really good lineup. But how are you managing that internally? Max hasn't had to have another first driver alongside him. Yeah. Basically,
I do think, no, I completely agree. I think if Mercedes did sign Max, surely George goes to Red Bull, and it's just like a
swap. But, like, for George, that's awful. Like,
Yeah.
like, obviously, if George becomes available, he's going to be hot property. He's going to be, like, everyone's like, I'll sack my fucking rookie. You want to come here? I'll sack my rookie.
Totally.
Everyone. But, like, George as a Mercedes junior, coming up through Mercedes Academy, spending 3 years at Williams, getting his Mercedes seat, finally going into the regulations where Mercedes are meant to be good.
Yeah.
If he now loses that Mercedes seat to the guy he's got beef with.
I know. I just
It's
had
gonna
the
kick
thought
off.
of like, imagine if he went to like Williams or something. Because like they got rid of Carlos.
Back to Williams.
Because it's not like he's
Because he keeps getting knocked down in Q1.
Yeah. Oh my god,
But,
that would be
like,
insane.
Oh, bro. It's just like, oh my god. But apparently,
There's like no
Max's
good choice for George if he
No.
gets kicked out.
Mercedes is going to be like one of the places to be next year by the sounds of it. So like,
Yeah.
you wouldn't want to go anywhere else.
100%.
And he's stepped up into the like hole that Lewis filled so well. He's performing so consistently, like
Yep.
helping Kimmy, like leading the team. Like he's doing everything right.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't
I know.
envy Toto Wolff in this situation.
No, not at all. Yeah. But I think if Max is available, he takes him. Like, I don't think there's
100%.
any question there. If Max says
No.
yes, he's got a seat.
Yeah, 100.
So-
If Max said yes to anyone, he's got the seat.
Totally. He's got
Anyone.
the seat. Absolutely.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. Anyways, speaking of Max in FP3,
Yes.
he had a nice little 360 spin. And I love that when Max spins, he can just carry on so easily. Like Yuki
But
spun,
Hadjar
and he
did
had
the
to,
same
like,
thing.
work his way around. He did, it's true. But I was
Yeah.
just like, no, Max. Of course,
Yeah.
you're fine. Yeah,
Max
not
just
saying
goes,
other
"Whoop,"
people
and
can't,
keeps
but it's just
going.
like, of course you would
Every
end up
time.
facing the wrong way. Like,
No,
of course not. You're fine.
literally.
But yeah, there were a few offs. Again, nothing particularly serious. But yeah, Hadjar had a big spin as well. And I saw someone online commented saying like, Isaac making a mistake to avoid being moved to the Red Bull is class.
Literally. But like, speaking of Red Bull, and the commentators were even saying in the race, like when Max Verstappen is taken out of contention, it becomes so obvious that it's a car thing, because also I think Liam Lawson his confidence is coming back 100%. Like he, over the past month, I'd say, has been just doing like way better than he was before, like when he first got moved back to
and
the
he had
RB.
a great quali.
He had a great weekend. Like he outperformed Hadjar, which is no easy feat. Just this weekend, not in general, obviously, but like, I think his confidence is finally coming back after what Red Bull did to him. And it's just like, okay, well, Tsunoda was performing well in that car. It's clearly the car. Like,
Oh, absolutely.
and we know this, but like, it just becomes so obvious when you take Max out of the equation.
Absolutely. And that was like evident in the race, which we'll obviously talk about, but
Yeah.
100%. I think that's kind of practice though. Should we get on to quali? So in Q1, we had Hulkenberg, Sainz, Tsunoda, Ocon, and Stroll eliminated.
Yes.
Obviously, big ones are Sainz and Tsunoda. Carlos was like really struggling compared to Albon, and this was his 3rd consecutive Q1 exit. Like, I know that you need time to come to terms with the car, and also like there's so many things that have just like been happening that are not his fault, like the car just breaking down.
The car just blowing up before it started on the race.
Dude, insane. But like, yeah, I just feel really bad for Carlos.
I know,
like,
and because also sorry, you go.
Sorry, you go.
Oh.
Wow, we're doing so well.
Yeah, what I was saying was like, at the start of the season, he was like, oh, you know, moving to a new team, it will take about 10 races to get to grips with the car. And it's like, well, it's the 11th race now.
Yeah, but we'll never know because your car didn't start.
No. And like, he's definitely shown patches of speed, but like, yeah, his qualies have just been awful.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, Albon has always been a good qualifier as well, so we can't discount that.
Totally, but Williams just did not have it this weekend. Which, all my predictions were cursed this weekend, because I predicted Max pole, and that was not even close.
It's never going to happen.
Yeah, I predicted Williams back on form, double DNF, and I predicted Yuki would have a good weekend, and absolutely not. So...
Yeah, well, I only got one right, and thank God, because our graphic would have looked terrible. We've had that before, though, haven't we? We have had that.
We have, yeah. Well, we've gotten
with
none of them right. So.
6 crosses.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah. If you don't follow us on Instagram, we do predictions on there, and it's fun. So you should definitely follow us on Instagram. Join in.
Correct.
I love reading everyone's predictions that they send through, like on the thingy.
I know, me too. It's so fun.
Sometimes I'm like, that's not happening.
Yeah. I disagree. Yeah. Anyway, so yes. So Sainz, obviously, that sucks. Yuki, again, like, just really rough. And just clearly that car is just clapped. And it was the start of a very somewhat... it was the start of, like, quite a embarrassing weekend for Red Bull. Because in Q1, the RBs finished P3 and P5. Like, Red Bull were just so consistently outperformed by their junior team this weekend in the Red Bull ring. And it's just like... Yeah. They need to
side eye
sort themselves out. Yeah.
But also, like, the Mercedes were like, because the weather just turned up and was like, sorry, Mercedes, you and your cold weather car are not having a good time. Because Russell was like in the drop zone at one point, and I was like, George, hello, what are you doing?
I know.
Do you want your seat?
Yeah.
Like, hello?
I know.
But Kimi was also down there. But I was like, oh my God, what the fuck is George doing in 15th?
Yeah, I know. It was crazy.
He was fine.
And then Gasly was P4 in Q1 as well. So it was like, everyone was just all over the place.
Yeah, the quali results, like, imagine looking at the quali results and not having watched quali. You'd be like...
Literally. I know. But there was less than a second between first and last in Q1.
Yeah.
Which, especially given the pole gap, is kind of crazy.
The pole gap is insane. Obviously, we'll get there. But it's a track where you kind of expect smaller quali margins because it's the shortest lap time of the year. Like, you do expect tighter quali margins just because of the... Yeah, just because it's a shorter lap. So,
100%.
Yeah, but...
But yeah. Ooh. So then in Q2, we had Ollie Behrman, Franco Colapinto, Hadjar, Alex Albon, and Fernando Alonso eliminated.
Yeah.
And of course, the big thing that happened was the red flag with the grass fire. Again. Thankfully, they got it sorted pretty quickly because I was like, it was like 12:30 at night, and I was like, I just want to go to bed.
Yeah, so true.
But the McLarens were just so quick.
I know.
Insane.
And it was the same sort of thing that's been happening in quali, like, all through this year, where it's like Lando's ahead in Q1, Lando's ahead in Q2, Lando's ahead in the first lap in Q3, and then fucks it on the last lap in Q3. So I was literally just like, what's going to happen?
Like, great. Okay, cool.
Because obviously, like, the same thing. But also, like, I think the red flag came out, the only person it kind of impacted was Albon, I think, might have been starting a lap. But I think it just meant that his tyres were slightly used when he went out to do his second one, not brand new. But who knows how much of a difference that really made. Amazing lap from Bortoletto.
Yes. He went P3 when he set his lap, and then I think ended P5. Like, so incredible.
Good. So good.
Yeah.
But he's good on this track. Really I think he won the F2 race last year.
Yes. I think all the rookies have a lot of experience in Austria. So I think that would have helped for sure. But I think that was pretty much it for Q2. And then Q3, first of all, George Russell nearly took out Lewis coming out of his pit box, which was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And then, everyone sort of just did their runs. Charles split the McLarens, which is a vibe. And then right at the end is where the chaos happened. Because Lando got his lap in that was half a second faster than Charles. And I was like, whoa. On a track, like you said, that is so short, to have a half a second gap is cooked.
Yeah. And then the yellow flag came out at the worst time, because everyone got their first runs in, and then second runs were on/starting, and that's what Max was in the worst spot to get like the Gasly spin, and Oscar was bad as well because he couldn't start his lap at full pelt, so he was fucked, like, obviously.
Yeah, and Max and Oscar were probably the ones that would have slotted into that gap between Lando and Charles.
Charles, not to be, obviously. I don't think Oscar would have got Lando, because then Lando got his second lap in after the Gasly spin and went triple purple again.
Yeah.
And I was like, God, what the fuck?
Yes.
But yeah, it was, but I don't think the pole margin would have been as big as it was. I think especially Oscar would have been, you know, a tenth or two off.
Yeah.
I don't think it would have been as big of a gap, but it was nice for Charles. Got to start P2. I don't think, I mean, he split the McLarens on the first lap, but I don't think he was gonna, split them again. He could have. You never know.
Who knows?
I wasn't too concerned about Charles starting P2, I'm not going to lie. I was like, he's going to be he's going to be so preoccupied with not getting overtaken by Oscar. He's not going to be trying to overtake Lando. And
totally. Like, even if Oscar hadn't got him straight away, it was kind of
was going to get him, yeah.
So, that
also,
was
Lando on the radio after getting pole kind of killed me a little bit. He was like, yeah, like pole, you know, like whatever. And he was like, nice to see the old me back every now and then. I was like, Lando. I was like, don't say that fucking shit. Because like,
also, what do you mean? Like, this is your like peak. This is your prime.
No,
you're competing
but
for
I
the
guess he's
championship.
talking about last year when he didn't fuck up his Q3 final lap every time.
Sure.
You know, because he has been fucking up his last lap in Q3 recently.
Yeah.
So that's probably what he was referring to, but I was like, I was like, don't say that. I'm like, you're fine, kid. Like, it's chill.
Plus. Well, should we get into the race? Before it even began, we had drama with Carlos's car stuck.
Dude, no, wait. Did your broadcast fuck it?
Yes. Like, right as it was meant to start. I panicked.
I was like about to lose my shit. So anyone that's watching the Australian broadcast, I'm assuming, had the same problem. But oh my God, it just like cut and was like, we're experiencing errors with your stream or some shit like that. Yeah. Right as it was I think they were just about to start the formation lap. Like right before the formation lap, and I was like, oh my fucking God. Lost my shit, was like reloading. I was like, oh my God, what the fuck? And then it came back with no commentary.
Yeah, they would have prioritized getting the video back.
Yeah.
Like, 100%.
Oh, I didn't care. I was like, as long as I can see.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be a bit weird to see the actual race start. It's lights out and away we go without commentary. Yes. But I don't care. As long as I can see it, I was like, I can commentate. I can see it.
100%.
Yeah. I was like...
So that was so that was crazy. But then it didn't matter because if the feed took a little longer to come back in, because Carlos got stuck in gear and couldn't get his car started, and which led to an aborted start. And it was so funny because I just literally come home from watching the F1 movie, and literally the same thing happens at the start of the movie. And
I've seen that.
What the
You're
hell?
like, hold on a minute. I've seen people being like Carlos pulling the Sonny Hayes tactic.
Literally. I was watching and I was like, oh my God, he's doing the Sonny Hayes. But yeah, so he obviously then got going and then had to pull into the pit lane, which was a rule that I learned about in the F1 movie.
Oh, there you go.
But then his brakes caught fire. So that was the end of his race. And I felt so bad for him because, like, again, we've talked about it. Like, it's he's just had such a rough time. But also, sitting in a car that's on fire is so stressful. I'm like, as if he didn't get out of the car. Anyway, so the race then got started, and Lando, great start. Charles, terrible start, but that was always inevitable to lose that spot.
But it was because Charles actually kind of went for it down the inside.
He did, and then Lando covered him off.
And just left the loveliest gap for Oscar around the outside of Charles.
Yeah, which fair enough, because like if you're going to cover anyone off, you'd cover off the person that's not your teammate.
And the person who's actually in second. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So that all made sense. And then it was all looking fine until Antonelli locked up and absolutely just sends it into the back of Max, which ended...
He absolutely steamrolled Max.
Yeah. The crazy part to me... Literally. The crazy part to me was how receptive Max was to just like chatting with Kimi as he got out of the car. Like Kimi obviously went over and apologized, and Max just seemed, I was like, oh no, Kimi's gonna hear it. And he was like, yeah, it's okay. And like in the press afterwards, he was like, these things happen, everyone's done it, it's fine. I'm like, are you just trying to make friends with Kimi because he's maybe your new teammate? Like, what?
Yeah.
What's
also,
going
like,
on
if
here?
that had been George, can you imagine? Because the commentary said George, and I was like, that's not George, first and foremost.
I knew straight
George
away.
is ahead. But, like, I was like, could you actually imagine?
That would have been a brawl. But I thought it was so funny, like Max just being so like, it's okay.
I know. I mean, it's like Max, all of those jokes about Max being like the little mother duck of all the rookies. It's like...
He's like, don't worry about it.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Sure. Because the same thing with Bortoletto in quali, we didn't talk about it, but he purposefully gave him a tow down the main straight because he was like, my lap was already ruined. From the yellow flag, and he's been having a really good weekend, so I thought I'd help him out. He just like purposefully gave someone else a tow, like not your teammate.
I mean, you'd also rather like a Sauber up and around where you are than like another Mercedes
anybody else
or a Ferrari or whoever, you know what I mean? So
you're like, I can overtake him later.
Yes. So anyways, they were out, and then
also
we got
like
sorry, you go.
Very lucky for Liam Lawson and Bortoletto not to get caught up in that. Liam was like in there. I'm so surprised that Liam didn't get like hit by that as well, because he was like in there with them and just like
narrow escape.
Very narrow escape. Yeah.
Yes. And then we got a few more laps in, and we got some very good Lando and Oscar racing.
Well, we had the safety car that came out obviously for a few laps. And I was like, how is this safety car restart going to go? The restart was fine.
Yes. And then Oscar started having a couple sniffs. And I was like, okay, all right, what's going to happen here? And for just like 10 laps, it was really, really great racing. And then around like lap 20 or lap 21 or whatever, Oscar locks up and so nearly takes them both out of the race. And I knew that you would be so panicked. And the funniest part for me is I'm like, this is so good. This is such good racing. Evie's going to be so stressed, but this is such good racing. I'm loving this. And then I was like, they're going to pit Lando. And then like a lap later, they call Lando in because they're like, okay, that's enough.
Yeah, that's
You've had your fun. You've had your race. We've been entertaining. But you're done.
They were like, that was too close. We're going to box someone. Like, that was too close. You're getting called in now. Like, that's enough.
Yeah.
But no.
How was that experience for you?
So stressful. But like, really good. Like, I actually really liked it because nothing happened and because they were both super clean. They were both racing super hard, and like Oscar got ahead for a bit. They were going wheel to wheel. Lando got him back. Like, it was great racing. And like, it's the sort of thing that I really, really like about sports is like those tense like moments like that. Like, like I'm comparing it to like football when it's like super close or like scores a level like in the last minute of the game, and it's like all the momentum's like, and it's just like when you're just like and like
like what is gonna happen? I know.
But obviously it's good when the outcome is good.
Yes,
of course. Whereas last week would have been good if the outcome was good, but the outcome wasn't good, so I didn't like it. But that I was like, but then when Oscar locked up and nearly went into the back of Lando, I was like, no. I was like, oh my God, that's way too close for comfort. It is so nice that McLaren are just letting them race, and both of their engineers are like sat next to each other on the pit wall and helping them like beat each other. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
it's
like
great.
Lando's engineers like telling him how to beat Oscar. Oscar's engineers telling him how to beat Lando, and they're like fully like, it's nice that McLaren's like letting them do that, obviously within reason.
Yes.
So, and we have like a proper championship battle for the first time in a while. Like,
I know, it was great. So entertaining to watch.
It's nice, but it's so stressful. And also like, obviously then a few things happened like with Oscar. They offered Oscar like, do you want to come in and be 1.5 seconds behind Lando, or would you rather stay out and get the tyre delta for later? It felt like they kind of gave him the worst of both worlds, because they left him out too long to come out right behind Lando. Like if they boxed him the next lap, he would have come out just behind him again and been able to push to get back within DRS and like fight again. But they didn't leave him out long enough to really get a tyre delta.
I know.
So
I think because he had a flat spot, his tire, like he just couldn't. He was losing too much time.
Totally. There's obviously there would have been a reason why they did that, but like it just didn't really work out. But I was actually okay with that, because I was like, if we're having this amount of wheel-to-wheel racing at the start, I'm like, I can't do this for 70 laps.
Yeah.
I can't do this for the whole race. Like my heart can't take it for 70 laps. It can't.
Fair.
Because it's not going to be this clean for the whole... If they're right on each other for 70 laps, I can't do that. So I was like kind of okay with having a reprieve in that way.
Yeah.
And a reprieve that wasn't really anyone's like fault. Like no one really did anything, or like, you know, it was just like, okay, we can breathe. But in other news, around the same time, Albon retired.
He did. Just terrible, terrible weekend for Williams.
Yeah, double DNF.
Yeah. And also Yuki and Lance banged front wings and both got a bit of damage there. And then Yuki continued a little bit of chaos, because he then a few laps later, around lap 30, spun Franco around. Which
that was a
thankfully he kind of recovered from. He recovered from it straight away, which was good. But Yuki then had to come in and get a new front wing.
And got a 10-second penalty.
And as we said, because Max was out of the race, it was just an embarrassing weekend for Red Bull. Like, so clearly that car is useless for anyone except Max. And you see that so obviously when Max is no longer in the race and Yuki's running in last.
Yeah, because you don't have that excuse. When Yuki's running in last but Max is running in second, it's like, well, just look at Max.
Yeah.
But when you take Max out of the equation, it's like...
Yeah. Yeah. Like, you just do not have a car that is good enough, period, for anyone other than Max.
And they were saying in quali, like, Yuki is now trying to change his driving style to be more like Max, to get the better out of the car. But that's not an easy thing to do. No. Like, you can't just change your driving style overnight. Like, the one you've been with your whole life. And also, like, apparently the RB is a very, like, user-friendly car, because it's like a rookie car. Like, it's there for junior drivers. So they make the car very easy to drive. So I was like, when you put someone like Yuki, especially you've left to rot, effectively, in that car for 5 years.
Yeah.
When you take him out of 5 years in a very user-friendly car to a car which is impossible to drive, basically, unless you're Max Verstappen.
Yeah.
What do you, like...
Totally.
Anyways.
I know, it's insane.
Anyways.
Yeah.
But,
Anyways.
There was a few team orders going on as well.
Yeah.
For Sauber and for Haas.
Well, I was just going to say, with Sauber, at the halfway point, they were running P6 and P7, which was insane. But yes,
and great
there were a few...
recovery drive from Nico from P20.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, the handful of DNFs certainly helped. But yeah, it was that they were doing so well. But yes, there were a few team orders flying around, just probably based on like tyre strategies and things like that, I would say.
Yeah, nothing crazy.
Yeah, and then the second round of pit stops started happening, and Oscar pitted for the second time. Do you have something to say before that happened?
I do. Like, there was a few cars on the one stop, which turned out to be a great strategy for the ones that it
Yes.
worked for, which was
Yes.
Liam Lawson, Fernando Alonso, and Esteban Ocon, all one-stopped the
Yes.
race, which
True.
was a nice little strategy play for them.
Yes.
Nothing really else to say about it, but they all ended up in the points, I think. I think Ocon did as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, they one-stopped and all finished with points. So, like, well done. Well done to them.
Correct.
But, yes, that is all I have to say about that. You can continue.
No, yeah. So the ones that were on a 2-stop then
Yes.
started to come in. And Oscar came in for his second pit stop. And he came out behind Franco Colapinto and Yuki, who were caught up racing one another. And Colapinto made the heart-palpitating move of basically, well, he did. He pushed Oscar off the track, got a penalty for it, as he should. And quite frankly, I think the 5-second penalty was not good enough. I think if you push someone off the track while you're under blue flags and that you should be letting that person through and you push them off, that should be at least 10 seconds. Like,
Dude.
I know that the penalty for just pushing a driver off the track is 5 seconds, but under a blue flag, it should be more.
Yeah.
That is insane.
Bro, I was about to lose my shit.
Yeah.
Because
fair.
I was happy with this is the thing. As I said before, like, I was happy with Oscar being a little bit further down the track because, as I've said many times, McLaren 1-2, unproblematic, don't care who finishes ahead. Don't care.
Yeah.
So, but oh my God, when Franco just like moved across, and it's almost more horrifying hearing the explanation because he just didn't see him. He did not know Oscar was there, which means, because obviously he moved across to get in the slipstream to try and overtake Yuki again. So, but he just moved fully across all the way to the side of the track and had no idea Oscar was there. Like, Oscar is so lucky he didn't get wiped out. Because if Franco didn't know he was there at all...
Yeah. Which is
like,
Alpine's fault for not telling him that he needs to let Oscar through. He's right
and also,
behind you.
like, he is mid-overtake, but he's a rookie. Like, you know, he's not going to be as aware of, like, blue flags, even though you should be.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, I feel like it's a bit of a rookie / Alpine.
Yes.
It's a bit of both responsibility for that. But,
for sure.
oh, my God. And that time potentially cost Oscar a crack at Lando at the end.
Totally. Because in the last 10 laps, he was gaining on Lando. Gained, like, I think he was sort of 5 seconds behind, then 4, then 3, then got it down to about 1.5. I don't think he ever got into his DRS.
He didn't. Yeah.
He just ran out of time. But, yeah, it was like, is he going to get him?
Yeah, I was quite confident because I was like, oh my God, the last 10 laps are going to be fucking horrific. Because I thought Oscar was going to catch up. But then because he was gaining, but he wasn't gaining enough. He wasn't, I was like, unless there's a big issue with traffic for Lando.
Yeah.
I was like, I was fairly confident with how much he closed. I think he only closed about like a second and a half and still had 2 seconds to go in 5 laps. And then with 5 laps to go, still had about 2 seconds. Like, I think the gap was like not, if I was like, if it goes how he's been going, he's not going to be close enough. And because of how the first 20 laps went, and it took that long, I was like, I don't think he's going to have enough laps. But I was horribly stressed because I was like, because he doesn't have enough laps, if he does get into DRS, he's going to be sending it.
Yeah,
like, because he knows he doesn't have time to wait.
Totally.
So I was like, I was like, if we can avoid that, that would be great. But then it almost got a bit dicey too between Bortoleto and Alonso and Lando. Because they had to obviously let Lando pass, which they did, but then once Lando got past, Alonso had DRS on Lando, but Lando was now leading that little gaggle. Yeah. And Alonso obviously wasn't going to slow down because he's about to be overtaken by Bortoleto, so Alonso moved to the side to, like, keep going fast, basically, because he had his DRS open. Yeah. And got a little bit close to Lando.
Yeah, I know.
And I was like, if that wasn't Fernando Alonso, I'd be a lot more stressed. Because I was like, I feel like I trust you.
Yeah, he'll totally be able to manage the situation. No, totally. Yeah. I get you.
Yeah. But it was very stressful.
Yes. But Lando came out on top and It's now a 15-point gap in the drivers, which is really fun. I'm a big fan of that.
Oh my God. It's so stressful. So stressful, bro.
Yeah, I mean, it will be very interesting to see how the rest of this like first half of the season goes. The double points for Sauber were also really fun, good. And seeing Bortoleto and Alonso like hug at the end of the race was so cute. I love that.
That was really cute, especially after them having a massive like scrap right at the end.
Yeah.
Because Alonso was obviously just like super happy for Bortoleto to get points, his first points. So now all the rookies have points bar the Alpine rookie.
Yes.
Both of them. But Alpine themselves are like on 11 out of 10 struggle street, so you can't really blame them. Because if Gasly's not getting points,
exactly,
you're clearly not fast enough to get points. So
yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Then also in the cool down room, Oscar was just like there by himself.
I know, that was so funny.
I was like, "Are you okay, King? Like, do you want a friend? Like, what's going on?" And then like I love them. Like I just love the McLarens just like memeing out their championship brawl. Like they're just so funny because they'd sat there like Oscar well knowing that Franco pushing him off probably cost him a chance at going at Lando, and he's like in the cool down room and he's like to Lando, he's like, "Mate, watch this." He's like, "Mate,
Lando was like, "Oh no."
He's like, "It probably cooled down your tires." And Charles being like, "Oh, this is sparkling water. It's disgusting." Like, okay. It was just funny.
Absolutely stand it up. But no, it was funny.
Oh my God, where's your Ferrari shirt? There was a Ferrari on the podium.
I know. I just feel like I've worn it so much recently because Charles has been on the podium. I was like, I need to wear something different.
No, fair enough. Fair enough. Oh my God, wait, I need to show you something that I bought the other day. Basically, having moved into this flat, I wanted to have my keys a bit more bulky because I'm used to having like, easier to find in bag, whatever. So I brought with me my little Collingwood key ring because obviously.
Yes. Cute.
She's a necessity and we love her.
We love her.
But what I bought to make my keys a little bit more chunky was this.
Oh, she's so cute. Love.
It's a little hard tire. For the audio listeners, she's a little hard tire. And I got the hard tire. I kind of wanted to get a different one, but it blends in with my Collingwood key ring, the black and white. So
true.
I just wanted to show you that because I thought it was fun. And
I love it.
I like it. Yeah. Anyways, we need to get going. Like we don't have the time in this episode to be spending talking about my fucking key ring, but I just wanted to show you.
No, I love her. All right, let's get onto these awards. So, Who is your biggest winner?
Sauber, low key.
Yeah.
100% Sauber. Obviously Lando, massive win to bounce back from Canada like that. And also special honourable mention to Liam Lawson finishing P6, which was his best result ever in F1.
True. Yes. Love. I completely agree with all the things you just said. I did not have a single different one. So.
Slay.
Biggest losers, I had Williams, obviously, and Yuki.
Yeah, that's
just
pretty much
with
the same.
all of the Red Bull dreams on your shoulders after Max was taken out, and nah.
Yeah, I had Williams and then Red Bull. So kind of very similar.
Yep. Biggest meme?
I have a few. I have a lot actually. I'll be having memes today.
Stunning.
And I have them actually. I've got this one, which is Liam Lawson. It's the Absolute Cinema meme.
Yep.
And Liam Lawson losing his Red Bull seat, then out qualifying Verstappen at Red Bull's home race. Then I've got this meme, which I just thought was really cute. And it's the one with the little goat.
Oh, yeah.
And the goat being like, and it's like Norris after not bottling the win for once after 2 weeks of bottle slander. Then I've got it's the image of Oscar locking up and almost going into Lando and being like, we were 5 centimeters away from a Ferrari 1-2. Which I thought you would appreciate.
So true. You best believe I would have been in my Ferrari gear if we had that on.
And I wouldn't have showed up for the fucking recording.
Yeah, it would have just been me.
If Ferrari got a 1-2 because McLarens took each other out, I would cry.
Yeah.
Anyways, what were your memes?
I just had the one, and it's like, it's on my laptop, so I can't show you. But you know the comparison of Gordon Ramsay with kids versus with adults in Hell's Kitchen?
Yeah.
And it's the caption is like, Max when Kimmy, and it's Gordon Ramsay cuddling the kid, and he's like, oh dear, gorgeous.
Yeah.
And it's like Max when Russell, you fucking donkey.
Literally though, no, for real.
Like, no but.
No but. Oh my god.
Anyway, so that was my biggest meme. Did you have a silliest surprise?
Yeah, the Sauber double points.
Yeah. True.
Sauber double points is a hella silly surprise.
I had that as well. And I also just had Max being so chill about Kimmy's lockup.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That was very surprising to me.
Yeah.
Did you have any other ones?
No.
No. Do you have a useless stat?
I do, actually. And it's been a useless stat for a while because it's kind of something that I thought of. And then I was like, oh, maybe this is like now a stat that it wasn't before, but it's been a stat. But just talking about Lando bottling his poles, basically, and his pole to win ratio. He's now won his last 4 races from pole. So the last 4 poles he's had, he's converted into race wins. So that's nice. And he has double the percentage of pole to win conversion rates than Charles does. So I just think that's a bit funny because people love to talk about Lando's pole conversion rate. Yeah. His pole conversion rate is now 41% and Charles's is 19%. So, I mean, I'm not here to slander Charles. I don't mean to just like attack your driver. But I was just like, his pole to win rate isn't even bad anymore. Because he's won the last 4 from pole. It was really bad, granted. Yes. But he's pulled it back. Improved. Yeah. I love that. So, yeah. Do you have a stat?
I do. With Max obviously DNFing and Yuki not scoring any points, it is the end of Red Bull's streak of races, like proper Grand Prix.
Yes.
Scoring points consecutively of 77 races. So since Saudi 2022 until Canada last week, 2 weekends ago, they scored points every single Grand Prix, which is the second highest amount of consecutive point scoring Grand Prix, behind Ferrari, who scored. They only scored 4 more. They scored 81.
Yes, I was going to ask how many were they off the record?
Yeah, so there were only 4 off, and Ferrari scored that back in between 2010 and 2014 when they had Fernando Alonso, Felipe Massa, Kimi Räikkönen driving for them. But yeah, 77. They score points every single race. Crazy.
I mean, I guess it's telling of the fact that their car is no longer good enough to score points when Max doesn't.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because in the past, obviously, we have our Max Verstappen stat of if he finishes the race, he scores points, basically. Yes. But in the past, Perez was still able to score the points when Max didn't. Yeah. Because their car was better. And I've said it before, I think everybody owes Sergio Perez an apology. It's sorry, King. It just looked like you were really shit, but I don't think it was your fault. Anyways, I digress.
No, but that was my stat. Did you have a favourite moment?
My favourite moment was the McLarens actually having a clean battle. As much as I was so stressed, as I said before, it's just one of those things in sport that it's just what you love to see in sport.
Yeah. Completely agree.
Close fights for wins, basically. So, and the fact that it was clean, if it's clean, I'm loving it. I'm panicked the whole time, but loving it.
No, Yeah, 100%. I completely agree. That was my favorite moment as well. Also, just obviously, like, even though it sucks that they both ended up DNFing, like the Kimi and Max crash, just to like kind of see
spice it up a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. And also because like a Mercedes out of the points means good things for Ferrari, so I'm happy.
Yes, they are in a very close P2 title fight. It's 1 point at the moment. Like,
is it? I didn't know that.
Yeah, Ferrari's ahead by 1 point.
Oh my gosh.
So they're in a very, very tight fight for P2. Something for you to wish the worst on Mercedes from now on.
Yes.
But yeah, driver of the day.
That was good. I voted for Bortoletto, and I also agreed with the people. By my decision. Yeah, but I mean, obviously both McLarens as well just did an amazing job. So and Liam Lawson P6.
Yeah, absolutely, and Hulkenberg P20 to P9.
Yeah, crazy. There was
like,
really
yes, the DNFs helped, but like he did still overtake a lot of people to get there.
Yeah, some really like random just performance, like good performances this weekend.
It was just a fun race.
It was. It really was. So I think that was it for Austria. Unless you have anything else to add.
I don't. We're off to Silverstone, the British Grand Prix.
Your local race now.
My home race. It's going to be massive. Silverstone is going to be huge. Like, with the McLarens, where they are, obviously Lando's home race. He's got Lando stand at Stowe.
Yeah.
He's got, like, oh my God, like, it's going to be a huge, huge race for Lando. I hope he can stand up to that pressure.
Yes, that will be this will be such a big test of how he performs under pressure. Because especially with the gap so small now, like he can almost close it. If he wins, he could almost close the gap.
And if Oscar DNFs.
Well, yeah, of course.
If
but
Oscar
I mean, like,
DNFs,
even if it's a 1-2, he can almost, like, he can halve the gap.
Exactly. Like, it's so close. Like, it's going to be so stressful. But Silverstone is, dare I say, my favourite track. I love it.
It produced, I mean, last year was incredible. Obviously, magic with Lewis winning for his final race with Mercedes at Silverstone.
McLaren threw that win down the drain, so I did want to die a little bit. But
true. But the racing between the McLarens and the Mercedes was so good. Was it a wet to dry race or a dry to wet?
Yes, it was. It was dry to wet, back to dry.
Yeah,
so
it was so good.
Obviously, Charles Leclerc was on the wrong tyre at all times. Yes, so there was important. That. All right, I think that kind of wraps it up. We've been yapping today. We had a lot to discuss. But if you're listening on an app, give us a 5-star review because it really helps us out if you enjoyed the episode. And if you're watching on YouTube, give us a like, a thumbs up, if you will. Comment.
You're doing great.
You're doing great, sweetie. I lost my train of thought. Anyways, comment your thoughts on the race and the F1 movie if you've seen it. And subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. We're nearly at 1,000 subscribers. So plus subscribe because that would be slay. Anyways, we'll see you next time. Bye.